It was night, and taking the bins up the drive. And as I was coming back, I seen this light. I don't know why I had the urge to do it, but I flashed my torch. Flash, flash, flash. And it flashed back. It went flash, flash, flash. A voice kept saying in my ear, it was a little still quiet voice, and it said, "Keep looking down and it'll be alright. Keep looking down and it'll be alright." Hi everybody, my name's Scott and I live in Suffolk, and this is my testimony. So my first memory that I have is a strange one. So I was about 2.5, 3 years old. We've worked it out, and we lived in the countryside, just outside Aberdeen. And my mum, she worked at a pub as a cleaner in the hotel, and she used to take me to work with her. I used to just be sat colouring books, kept busy doing that while she did the cleaning for the bar. On this day, she said that she had a feeling that she just had to make sure that I was safe, more than normal. She went to check on me after some time and I was gone, and she started shouting out for me and looking for me. Can't find me, asking the staff, have they seen me? She starts to panic and she goes outside, thoughts racing through her head. She doesn't know what to think. Have I been taken? Somebody picked me up, snatched me. She doesn't know. She goes up to the post office just at the corner, not there. There's a farm at the back of the hotel, and she starts looking in there, and all sorts of thoughts are racing through her mind at this point. And then she has this feeling to look over in the field, and she sees these cows, and they're just walking in a circle. And she looks over, and she sees my hair, and she sees me, so she just makes a beeline for me. And her recollection is the cows were walking around in a circle, and she says it was like there was a force field around you and they couldn't get to you. Cows are really inquisitive, so they would be up at me, but they just weren't. She just picks me up, and that was it. That's where the story ended for her. She was happy that she found me, and nothing was really spoke about this again. But as time went on, I relayed the story of what happened to me, and my mum thought it was strange, and then she used to get me to tell relatives and stuff when we went to visit, and there was always silence, and it was always awkward. So I'll tell you what happened, and you can make up your own mind. I remember looking down at the roof of the hotel and the pub at the side of it, and it getting smaller and smaller under my feet. And I can still remember how it looked. There was a sort of big rectangle shape, which would have been the bar, and it had a corrugated roof. And then there was this sort of house shape beside it, which was the hotel. And then there was a road at the front of it. And I remember it vividly in my mind that it was getting smaller and smaller. So I was obviously going further and further up. And a voice kept saying in my ear, it was a little still quiet voice, and it said, "Keep looking down and it'll be all right. Keep looking down and it'll be all right." But I couldn't do anything anyway if I tried, because I remember the feeling as well. It felt like static electricity or pins and needles. If somebody rubs a balloon and they make your hair stand up, it felt like that all over my body. It was the strangest sensation. And this voice kept saying, "Keep looking down and it'll be all right." And the building was getting smaller and smaller. And then that was it. There's no connection between going up and then coming back down. I don't have any recollection of coming back down. I think because at such a young age, you don't usually hold memories, but this one was firmly imprinted in my head and it stuck. It's always had a big question mark over it because I can't explain it. This day and age, it's aliens. It's got to be you were abducted. But the strange thing is, it was during the day. Of all the things I've researched, I've never really heard of during the day abductions. They usually come at night and take you out your bed and stuff. It was always met with awkwardness, the story. And if I told it to my friends at school, you would just get laughed at and folk would say you were crazy. That's on the back burner of my mind all my life. And the strange thing is that I don't really have any recollection of anything that happened after that in my childhood that majorly stuck out. I seen this thing on, I think it was the BBC. It was Bruce Parry. He was an ex-military guy, and he was doing this documentary where he went and stayed with tribes, and he was taking ayahuasca. And I was just intrigued by this, and he was going through this purging process. Long story short, he felt a lot better. It was a hard thing for him to go through, but he seemed to get something out of it, and all the people that were there seemed to get something out of it. And I started looking into that, and I heard about this church called the Santo Daime Church, and they were in Holland, and they had come out of South America. It was like a syncretic mix of Catholicism and sort of this indigenous rainforest beliefs all stuck together. And it was a way that I could get a hold of this ayahuasca, because it didn't matter where it was. Basically, I just wanted the answer for what happened to me when I was a wee boy, when I was 2.5, because I couldn't get the answers in the secular world. So I went to Holland and took part in the ritual. We're all sitting in circles, 2 circles. They're all singing and chanting. And I'm like, oh, nothing's happening. As soon as I thought nothing's happening, it started to happen. And it was like things just kind of changed. Physically, I could feel this thing descend on me. And as it's going on, people are starting to, feel sick and that. I remember people being sick, but I never got sick. I was never one for vomiting. And then I started to go into like a trance. And it's almost like what I've heard before people say. It's like the music's the snake charmer, and something's happening to you and you're becoming this thing. You're moving about. You feel yourself swaying inside, like it's almost like you're becoming part of this spirit or something. It's weird. And then I get this download information, and it all made sense to me because it had all been something I was studying, but I didn't want to know about that. So I said it directly to this thing that I thought was a spirit. I said, what happened to me when I was a wee boy? What happened to me when I got taken away? We're not talking about that now. And that was it. I was kind of like, right, okay, so I'll just have to go along with this experience then. So I went along with it, and things are starting to come to a close as the night's drawn on, and the ceremony kind of finishes. And I walked back to the hotel that I was staying at, but as I was looking at people, I could feel what they were sensing, and it was like I could feel like there was a hole inside them and they were trying to fill it with stuff. And it was odd. There was guys queuing up to go in the casino, and I felt like that's what they were trying to put in this hole that was inside them. And then as I passed another doorway, it was all these girls queuing up to go in a nightclub, and it felt like they were trying to get some sort of relationship to fit in this hole. But the hole was God. That's what we needed to fit in this hole, but people were trying to stuff other things into it. And obviously we know that doesn't work. And I went back to my hotel and I wrote everything down that I'd experienced, because I thought, well, this is good information. It's good research. My wife now, I told her about the experience I had when I was a wee boy, because this was still hanging over me. And she was like, wow, that's an interesting story. That's amazing. And then not long after that, I was outside in the garden. I was putting the bins out. It was night, and taking the bins up the drive. And as I was coming back, I had a torch in my hand. I seen this light just over the top of the house, like over the top of the tree. So it's, it wasn't too high, but it wasn't so low either. And I thought, well, that's a funny light. I don't know why I had the urge to do it, but I flashed my torch. Flash, flash, flash. And it flashed back. It went flash, flash, flash. And I was like, oh no. I could feel there was some sort of connection between me and this light. It was strange. So I did it again, but I did a different sequence because I thought, well, I'll just try something else. And it did the same back, the same sequence. And I was like, oh. I ran inside. I said, you'll never guess what. You've got to come outside and see this. It's still there. Flash, flash, flash. Flash, flash, flash. She was like, stop doing that. And she ran in the house. She was like, you've got to come in the house. You've got to stop doing that. You're encouraging them. You're encouraging them. But I thought this was great. I was like, but it's signalling back. And she was like, no, you're coming in the house. You're not going back out. And I was like, I was really curious about this thing outside. I convinced her I was going back outside, but it was gone. And that was that. The depression's still bad. Medication, I try and come off of it because I feel like it's not benefiting me, but it's really hard to come off of it. The side effects were terrible for coming off of it. So I'm trying different things. I'm listening to Joe Rogan and Wim Hof, and thinking I'll try this cold water therapy stuff, because he got over depression with the cold water. So I thought, well, I'll try it because we've got access to water, and I'm trying that, the breathing, and every time I'm doing it, it's feeling good while I'm doing it, but once I'm back to normal, I'm back to depressed. Joe Rogan's on about, taking different things, and he's got different guests on talking about microdosing, and I start looking into that. And then a voice comes in my head and it said, read the Bible. All right, going on it, lose. I've been feeling suicidal. I was going down that road again. Nothing to lose, read the Bible. And I really getting into it. And honestly, I started to feel a bit better. Things weren't as bad. But I really wanted to learn more. I wanted to learn about what I was reading, because, it's a hard read when you start from the start of the Bible. So I was listening to Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis, and I was listening to the Screw Tape Letters, both fantastic, and started to put things into place for me. And then I found this Bible preacher called Derek Prince, who's sadly passed now, but his teaching was great, and it really brought what I was reading to life. And basically I could read anything, any book in the Bible, and then see what he had to say about it. And the teaching was really clear for me, and it really spoke to me, and I really understood it, what he was saying. This video in particular I'd listened to was called From Curse to Blessing, and it was amazing. It was basically from Abraham to Jesus, and it was all condensed into like an hour and 45 minutes or something like that. And the teaching was so clear, and I understood what he was saying, and I understood the Bible and what it was saying. And there was this prayer that he said to say at the end, and I couldn't say the prayer. It was like, just say the prayer in your own words, and you can just repeat it, but you can make it your own. Great. Couldn't say it. I could not say this prayer, and something in me was just not wanting to say this prayer. And I listened to this video over and over for about 3 weeks, and I just said to myself, what have I got to lose? If I say it and it works, it's great. If I say it and it doesn't work, then I've lost nothing. So that was it. I was saying this prayer. So I said the prayer, and I made it my own. It was a prayer of repentance to God. Please, God, forgive me for all my sins. I said that I believed that he sent his son to die for our sins, and that he died for my sins, and that I believed that he died and rose again 3 days later and sits at the right hand of the Father. I believe that, and I'm sorry, God, please forgive me. That was it. I cried. For what? Excuse me. Cried for about 15 minutes, 30 minutes, it felt like, non-stop. And I felt great. Depression was gone. Suicidal thoughts were gone. I had a foul mouth, a really foul mouth. I mean, it was a rite of passage when I was younger to be able to swear in front of folk, and that was gone. I used to blaspheme and swear all the time. That was gone. Everything that felt bad was gone. I was this new person. I was given a new heart. I couldn't believe it. And that I knew who Jesus was. Because I knew him. Thanks be to God. And so I'd also said in my prayer these promises of things that I would do, and it was to get rid of these contact objects in the house, these things that I'd accumulated over time. All these occult books, tarot cards, burnt a lot, got rid of them, stuck them in the fire there, and then got them all out the house and stuck them in the fire. And from that moment that I was born again, I couldn't drink again. I didn't want to be near drink. I wasn't interested in drink. I've just been walking in the Lord ever since.